It's working. Hi, cutie. Okay, I'm just making sure you're all on here. Hi, Krista. So cute to see you. All right. This is awesome. Okay. Oh, let's see who we got here. How you guys doing? Krista, you signed in at 5:55. I don't know if you noticed that, but you did. I thought that's awesome. Okay. I'm going to let people log in here and welcome everybody. It's good to see you. Hello, friends and fabulous friends of friends. It's good to see everybody. I'm just getting all logged in here. Hello, handsome. All of you are showing up. It's so good to see. Few more minutes here, guys, and we will get started. I know, LOL, but it's 5:55 here. So that's all that matters. All right. Hi, Gina. How are you, beautiful? So glad to see everybody's logging in here. I see several of you guys on YouTube. I have posted a reminder onto Facebook. So hopefully you guys are able to get this. If not, we're gonna repost it back onto the page, and Facebook will get it there. It's just a lot easier to put it onto YouTube. So that's what we're gonna do. So anybody who's here, the thing about being on YouTube is that I cannot tell the names of friends who are on here. So if you want to throw your name in there, if it's someone I know, just throw a quick post in and say hi. That would be awesome. Whoops. Okay, Whitney, I see you.
I don't know why I cannot see you now, Whit, but I know you're there. I'm going to figure out how to find you next. So anyway, jump on and let me know if you're here. Throw me a message in the Q&A. Oh, hi. Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you guys again. Okay, now you're all in here. Got it. Now I see you, Whit. Okay, I'll undo you when we're ready. All right. Couple minutes. It's 6 on the dot. I'm going to give everybody a couple more minutes to log in. I'm seeing several people jump in on the YouTube, and I did post it out onto Facebook. So hopefully I'm getting enough of them knowing that we're here, but I'm not going to worry about it tonight. We're going to forward on, and we're going to forward to getting this info out. If you know people that this will work with, forward them the channel and the link, or save it to their page and do a live party there. Okay. So I'm going to start for a few minutes and kind of get you guys started a little bit on what's going on upstairs. A lot of people who are logging in are asking what's going on. Why is, everything so crazy? So we're going to talk about that a little bit. But most of all, I want you guys to kind of just get settled into where the energy is going and then what it brings up. So that's what tonight's going to be kind of wrapped around, and going on the topics that I had offered in the messages. That's the best thing we're going to do tonight. And then we're going to have a live coaching session at the end. And I'm going to bring up all of that. Hi, Jill. Hi, everybody. Thanks for logging in. I'm so glad to see you guys. Everybody on YouTube, thank you for logging in. It's good to see you. I am going to get started. So welcome to the Truth Tribe, everyone. I am so happy to see you. I'm Dawn Thompson. For those of you who are new, we are on YouTube, so a lot of people will that may not even know me yet. Welcome. It's good to see you. So let's get started and let's get down to business, because tonight is kind of mushy. As I had listed earlier, we're going to have a live mini coaching at the end on Q&As, and I'll describe that later, how that's going to go. Kind of excited, so I'm going to invite someone on. Let's dive in. So let's talk about what is happening and what is going on and what's going on with this craziness. So the topics that I had thrown out onto those of you who are in the VIP and my messages privately, that you guys got the updates, but so did Facebookers. And the topics are reality reflecting our relationships. Your reality is a reflection of the world outside of you. And so a lot of times when we don't like what's going on out there, it's typically what we don't like in here. And we've talked about this before, right? And so old emotional stuffing is surfacing. That's a big one that's happening right now. And then the new relationship reality requires a new norm, which is neutrality. And I'm going to go back to doing what I do best, which is relationship teaching and coaching and healing and inspiration, because that is the fastest way to learn. It's the fastest way to interpret who you are, where you're at when you're arguing or frustrated or irritated. And I don't care if it's someone on the screen, right? Someone on your social media or someone at work or someone in your family that's sitting next to you. It's the best way to gauge yourself, shall I say, right? And to gauge where you're at in your life. It doesn't mean you're that person. And I want to be very clear about that. I'm not stating that, oh, that's you, that's how you are, that's how you act. It's not like that. This is more so if you can start paying attention to energetically, if we start looking at the reality we live in, it's a truth talk. And a lot of times we don't want to see the truth, right? We don't want to believe what we're seeing could be an image of us. It's not always extreme, but it's a little bit. So what I'm going to start with very shortly, and I know all of you want this from me, and so I'm not going to withhold anymore, which is what's going on in the sky, all right? What's going on in the planets. And so I'm going to share a little bit of that right now as we begin, because I think they bear a pretty big impact on your current reality. And the reason I say that is your relationships, because they're revealing right now your emotional strength, that they do. They're going to Whenever your relationships are off or tripped up or overwhelmed, they will reveal your emotional strength, but you have to plan it even more so, revealing you, shall I say, in the next 12 weeks-ish. July, August, you're going to start seeing things get trippy. And if you don't think they're already trippy already, which we do, they're going to get a little bit more. And the reason I say that, so I'm going to focus right now on the month of May. And the reason I'm sharing all this with you is because I think if you're prepared, it's not so intense, or it's not so overwhelming, or it won't get to you as much. And so what I'm going to share with you is the month of May is going to be a little bit awesome, but intense at the same time. Why? Let's start on Thursday. Thursday the 7th is a Scorpio full moon. Now, those of you who know Scorpios, they're intense, they're passionate, you know, they're hot energy. They're really, really intense with the way they think, what they do, how they work, but they're loving and kind and generous at the same time. So let's think about a full moon in Scorpio, which is awesome, okay? If you're good with owning your unfinished garbage from the past. That's why it's awesome. If you're good with saying, if my unfinished garbage from the past surfaces, am I good with dealing with that? The not great news is that when it surfaces and you try to ignore it, avoiding what the truth of it is about, okay? And so nothing that wasn't already there to begin with isn't going to be appearing. So if it wasn't already there, even on a small level, it's going to still start appearing. And it's old stuff wanting completion, guys. So I just want people to know that don't take it personal. Just don't take it personal. It's not about you. It's not even trying to hurt you. This is actually, you know, trying to help you feel better, and it's trying to make you feel transitioned and transformed. So this Scorpio full moon, wherever it sits, if you do know your astrology chart or your zodiac chart, wherever it sits for you, that's where it's going to affect you most. But it's going to just impact everyone on the level of healing and transformation. And so basically releasing and resetting, because what does a full moon do, right? Full moons illuminate the darkness, right? If you go outside in the dark, normally you can't see very well, but when it's a beautiful, and this is a bright super moon, when this bright super moon gets illuminated and it illuminates all the things you can't see, which scorpions, you know, anyone who knows about scorpions, they come out at dark, right? You can't see them in the daytime, but you can surely see them at night when you have a bright light. And so the reason I bring that up is therefore illuminating things that are ready for closure. So if there's stuff coming up for you and you're like, whoa, and it's already started. I clients already, they're like, what is going on? Where is this coming from? This is so past. I thought I dealt with this. And the question is whether it's coming, whether you're ready or not. Okay. And so I don't know. I'm one of those people that I truly, when things show up, I'm not even one to neglect that I might have a temper tantrum about it, but I like saying why. Why is this showing up for me? Did I not clear it? I must not have readdressed, you know, that kind of stuff. So please know that this Scorpio full moon, if it hasn't already shown up for you, and it showed up, if it's showing up for you in a way that you're starting to see this, I want you to know that that's something you can address right away and go, no, I'm not going to go there again. Or, oh, I'm going to let that go. I'm going to clear this. Now, let's add a little bit fuel to this fire. That's Scorpio full moon putting closure for us of things from the past. That's just for you. Now think about the whole planet. So things that are not true or secrets or old or past or emotions or dishonesty, you're going to see it surfacing. Okay. Planetarily, this is an entire planet thing. The moon just doesn't affect one person. So just know that. Okay. Now let's go on to the rest of the month. I know you're all familiar with Mercury retrograde. The good news is it's not Mercury that's retrograding this month. The bad news is that it's 4 other planets. And so that's the downfall of this, is that 4 planets are going to go retrograde. Now, it's Pluto, the planet of Scorpio's planet. So Pluto, which is about death and regeneration and secrets. Let's see. Someone's asking me what when you find in your chart if Venus is in Scorpio. So money and beauty and love might come up for you, Krista. So someone's asking me what happens if Venus is in Scorpio in your chart. That's that simple. So wherever Scorpio, where Pluto, or where the full moon hits in your chart, if you know your chart, that's something good to know, that that's where it's going to get impacted at least, or illuminated for you to make changes. Okay, so good question. So the next one is Pluto's going retrograde. Venus is going retrograde. So that's really going to get you extra, Krista. Saturn is going retrograde and Jupiter are going retrograde. Now, these are some pretty strong planets. So they're all, in a sense, and I'm not talking literally, because planets never orbit backwards. It's not a thing. What they do is they do a dance and they turn. And so basically they turn backwards. And when they turn backwards, they're facing backwards. So in a sense, we're focusing on the last remnants of the past. So that's the best way I can explain it, is we're focusing on the past. Okay. So what you felt, guys, last December, go back to December 27th, 26th, 27th in there. You're going to be readdressing in July and then again in December. All right. And it's not as intense, and it's not the virus. So don't be like, oh gosh, Dawn's telling me the virus. It's not that. I don't even feel that anymore. That's clearing. That's cleared. This virus is over. It never was about the virus. It was about energy. And you can understand something when it's about energy, when an entire planet is being affected by this shift. Okay. So, it's not going to be as intense, but you're going to see new light. And so I'm going to give you the basic theme of 4 planets retrograding in the universe with a full moon on Thursday in this month. They all keep moving into Aquarius and away from Aquarius, and then are going to go back into Aquarius, and then they're going to stay there after December, several of them. And the reason I'm saying that, so the theme is going to be waves of truth. Because Aquarius and Capricorn, they rule truth. And that's what they're doing. They're doing these waves in and out of truth. Okay. And so if you can focus on that, you're going to be a lot better off than everybody else. So I want you to remember this, that things that maybe once or maybe within your whole life was true for you may get shattered in a moment. Things that you felt as true for you and maybe you never acted on will appear to give you a chance to re-engage. So it's simple waves of truth. That's the best way I can describe it. And so how easily you let go of non-truths and adapt to a new is totally up to you. And it's basically like waking up. Okay. And so having an open mind through all of this, of going, great, I just adapted, I just changed this, and now I have to change again. The answer is yes. It's important that you think that way for the next 3 and 6 month windows. July and December are going to be interesting months. So they're all shifting your reality to this new norm, not a negative norm. So please don't think that way, because this is really good stuff shifting for all of you. It's really good shifting, opening up for a lot of you. All right. And so I want you guys to be open to that. So again, that's a little planetary setup, a little planetary reminder. It's not negative. It's not bad. It's just preparing you that you're going to go through waves of truth and non-truth, and things that you don't want to look at, it'll keep pushing it into the forefront for you. All right. It's trying to get us all to make the adaptation of saying, if it's not true for you, don't do it. Go find what is true for you. If that's not true for you, don't do that. Go do what's true for you. And it's going to keep moving you to your truth. And everybody's got a different one. So don't be judging everybody from what their truth is if you don't like it. Move on from them. Okay. Just scoot by. Okay. So I'm going to move into, that's just the energy on the outside of in the universe kind of impacting us right now. It's why we're feeling wobbly. It's why this week's been wobbly for people. I'm kind of excited. I actually like the Scorpio full moon. I like Scorpio energy. So let's move on to old emotional suffering, or old emotional stuffing is surfacing, and what I mean by that. So what I mean by that is, now that you have an understanding of the sky and that it's feeling like what it feels like, I should say, on this grid of the universe shifting, now I want you to look at yourself. Okay, so that's what's happening up there. And if you were to look at yourself, I want you to see, can you see where your own personal emotions were kind of stuffed down into the past? Like where maybe you might have stuffed it down and you didn't want to see something, and now you maybe ignored it and you avoided it, and just to make nice with everyone outside of you. And I know a lot of people do this. This is the basis of the company and career I have this because I watch people, and I've done it myself for so long, that we stuff things inside and we push it to the side. And my point is that you can't avoid them any longer. And now that our world is shifting and it's entering a time of illusion that looks like the external control is controlling you, the external control is it controlling you? The answer is no, that is not true. This is an illusion, and it looks like that. We all have the power to take back our control and our power in every situation, in any scenario, anytime we want. It's completely up to us how we do that. It seems like that. And so until you readjust and readapt your mindset to taking back your power and deciding what your truth is, it's kind of wobbly that way and uncomfortable. All right. So the best way I can explain is look at those around you. All right. Look at those around you and how those around you treat others right now. Okay. Anybody, but most of all the people closest to you, it's just clearly it's easier to watch them and look at them. Right. And so that's, if they're acting wonky, bonkers, needy, controlling, judgmental, critical, that's how they acted before this whole thing got unraveled and revealed, guys. It's just, they're now being revealed on a more grand level. And a lot of people are like, I can't believe they're being like that. Yes, they were like that before this. The truth surfacing right now, what it really is, and you may not like it. It's that simple. And so there's a lot of stuff that goes, if it goes against your truth or it goes against your, your comfort zone, and people are behaving, let's just say poorly, or, they're having a hard time with things, just know that's why. Okay. Just know that is why this is happening. Their truth is being forced to the top and they're having to deal with it, and they might not like it, or you may not like the fact that they haven't healed or changed. So, I got an eye opener today. Was a lot of you guys, most of you guys here on the I Deserve It text. And, for me, it's always just posting a lot of my truth, like the way I see things, and I'll be using the planets. I'm like, oh, that's what this is happening. And then I'll post the IDI text, right? And so I thought it was kind of funny because there was a lot of attention that came from today's IDI text. And it was, crisis isn't ruining your life. It's simply revealing what was broken before. And that came out of what's happening with the planets right now, and on the eve of this Scorpio full moon. I have been watching this for weeks now, but this last week has been very much so this intensity. I have clients who are watching, they're watching old drama appear, and literally they can't see its correlation to themselves, right? And then until they look at themselves instead, and they go, okay, well, let me look at myself. And instead, the external behavior that is being reflected to them is sometimes it's from way back, and they can't believe it's reappearing. And they're like, what the hell, right? It's that I want you guys to start paying attention to. That it's coming from when and where and why, like, something that happened 10 years ago and it's surfacing within you. That's the kind of stuff that's going to show up for you. I've seen it showing up on all different levels. People have stuff that they haven't healed inside. And so now their kids are exhibiting the same behavior, and then they're judging their kids for their poor choices. Who did the kids learn it from? Old avoiding their needs. Maybe they're avoiding their needs of what they need and what's important and what's valuable for them. And they're trying to put their needs and try to get their needs met by their spouse, who, they don't want to get their needs met by their spouse, but their spouses now are super needy and pulling time from them. So now they're frustrated with the spouse, not the spouse's fault. They're just being needy, right? It has nothing, but it's showing you versions of you. old self-worth issues could be coming up. I'm seeing that happen. And now your friends are losing their crackers and you can't understand why they don't want more for themselves to grow and heal. And yet you don't see it in yourself either, that you're not spending time for yourself, right? And so it's interesting where others, I've watched some people, I had a client who was frustrated with someone in the family who was spending money frivolously because they believe they were worth it. And I laughed because I was like, that's a great belief to have, right? Yet you won't spend money on anything on yourself to heal you. So you're mad at them for spending money, but you won't spend it on yourself. Like it's that kind of stuff that shows up. And if you think about it, it's from way back there. And then when it shows up, we have to go, ooh, that really is something for me to just look at. It's not like we're going out with a megaphone and, and telling everybody our business. It's hard. So the reason I'm bringing all this up is because this emotional stuffing, right? So last week, if you guys remember, most of you are on the call, we talked about physical pain, right? And I want you to understand where it originates from. Okay, so the people carry, guys, think of this, and I know you can just close your eyes and hear me on this one. People carry so much junk and garbage within, and it can't stay there, or it will eat away at you and cause disease and cause illness. It's what causes sickness in all forms, from a simple cold to a hangnail to cancer. This virus just is craziness compared to people who are fighting something much bigger, right? And so how long it lingers inside of you is a choice. I'm talking about emotional stuffing, okay? And so we get sick due to the emotional baggage that we refuse to address, often because we are, get ready, embarrassed. We're embarrassed. And my answer is embarrassed by who? I'm going to reveal this to all of you, and hopefully anyone else who's watching this call. Y'all have shit and baggage and drama and garbage. We do. I do. We all have it. But we're thinking that other people are doing better than us. They're not. And yes, Carrie, thank you. It is happening. And I just want you to know this is silly because everyone has karma to clear in this lifetime. Everyone. And as I've said, you don't need to use a megaphone, to go out and blast it off into the planet, into the world, and tell everybody, hey, I'm struggling with this. But you do need to acknowledge it within yourself and not ignore it, not avoid it, not say, I have no problems. I don't have any emotional baggage from my past. My husband and he laughs at me when I call him on it now. He thinks it's funny because he knows it's true. It's like, I'm tough. I'm a tough guy. Men do this a lot to me, right? I'm tough. I have no emotional baggage. And you're like, okay, how's that working for you, right? And then when we end up getting sick, we think it's the physical pain, the physical virus, the physical hangnail, the physical cold, the physical, broken leg, whatever it is that you're injured. And a lot of people I've noticed, they think it's the actual physical action that takes place and shows within your body. That's just the revealing of where the energy had been stuffed. Let's say you pushed the emotions down and you pushed them down into your knee and you got so much energy, and first you're limping and then it's sore and then it's aching and then you fall one day and you break it and you're like, I just don't know how that happened. I must have taken a wrong turn. Total BS. It's a total BS. It's just that we all have a weak constitution area in our body, and then that's where we push it. And it's different for everybody. So don't think one of you has a better or worse spot. But my point to this is, this emotional stuffing, you got to talk to someone, whether it is logging on these calls and expressing and asking me for coaching, whether it is talking to a friend who can truly be open-minded and stop judging. It's time to stop blaming is my point, okay? And determine and look for where the anger that you're holding inside, because that's where it all starts, right? That's where the anger, that anger that we push that makes us mad and hurt and inside, where is it stuck, right? And a lot of times it's from childhood. I have a client who, she was struggling to not feel better. And I said, well, where is it coming from? Like, why do you think what are you mad at? What are you angry? And she's like, well, my ex-husband. I mean, she knew right away. I'm like, well, so when are you going to let that go? Right. So everyone knows where it comes from. Someone else, it was from my dad. My dad, when I was 5, I mean, you can go right direct to the source. Now, do we judge and blame them? No. So why is it stuck, and where did it come from? That emotion that you've stuffed, anger cannot be stuffed inside of us. Our bodies can't hold it. And the longer we hold on to it, the more we then make ourselves susceptible to the invisible boogeyman that's out there. And you will make yourself sick with something that's not even associated with that, just because you're thinking about that in a sense, right? So the way I come from on a lot of this emotional healing, healers are all different. So I'm not saying one way of doing it is any better or worse than another. I don't always believe you need to know where it came from. What I work through is, what is the pain? Where is it? And then, are you willing to release that pain and any energetic, emotional energy that is associated with it, whether it was anger, rejection, judgment, criticism, all those things come from childhood, right? We picked them up from somewhere. And then we bring them with us. We shove them down. As a child, when you got abandoned 50 million times and you can't imagine where you're feeling anger, we're like, I'm not angry, I'm so happy. And you're not, you know. When we don't have to acknowledge who and when and where the exact time and place that it happened, but we just acknowledge that my stomach hurts, or my knee hurts, or my heart hurts. You know, it breaks my heart when people have a lot of heart problems, because I know their heart was broken quite a bit in some area at some point somewhere in their life. And I'm the only thing I'm struggling with this. I haven't been following the rules, FYI. I hug everybody. I almost got in trouble because my girlfriend she's an exec at Sprouts, and I almost walked up to her and hugged her. Said, no, I'm not allowed to hug you in this place. I'll get in trouble. And just so I hugged her at home. But that touch, right? So those things within our bodies, they will find their space to reveal where you're hurt, where you're angry, and you're holding on to that anger. Okay. And my husband's hilarious. My husband says, yeah, even your husband has garbage. Yeah, it's true. Honey, thanks for telling everybody. Yes, even my husband has garbage. I have garbage. You all have garbage. There's no pretty garbage. There's no ugly garbage. It's just garbage, guys. And it's not even a bad thing. I love you all no matter what. So here's the kick. Let's talk about this emotional stuffing. I don't care what you stuffed. I don't care when you stuffed it. I don't care how long you stuffed it. All I'm asking is that you let it go. And the easiest, fastest way, get ready. And most people are like, no, no, no. The easiest way to let go of karma completion is to complete it in forgiveness. Okay. So this is how you do it. Ready? Let it go. Let go of her ex-husband. Quit being pissed. You're not married to him anymore. Why are we holding on to him? Why are you mad at him? That's your way of not living. Right. And so that's what we start doing. We start using other people, their reasoning, their excuses, their print, their social media, their this. They said so, so now I can't. And that's bullshit. Let it go. Whatever someone did to you, said to you, made you feel, it's time to let it go. And I think it's important that we start learning to realize that that's the fastest way to release this karma and release the energy. Not just, oh, I let it go and you don't address it, but, oh, I let go whatever is in me of pain and emotion that I don't want to admit to someone, because it might make me look weak. In a heartbeat, I would share my weak spots with people, because I know holding them in doesn't do me any good, but it doesn't do you any good to do it the other way. Okay. So does that make sense? Okay. Whoops. With a full moon on Thursday. Am I still live here, guys? I just want to make sure. Okay. Into Aquarius. Sorry about that. I just want to make sure I'm still live here. Hold on a second. I apologize. I think I am still here. Yes, we are. Okay. Just making sure you guys are here and you're okay. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness, guys. There we go. Did I lose you? Okay, I did not. Okay, so Paul, sorry. I have like way too many screens going on here. Okay, so that is karma completion. And in that karma completion, I call it karma completion, call it baggage completion, call it garbage completion, call it whatever you want to call it, but that's the whole point of it, okay? So if you have questions on this, I want you guys to know, throw them out, ask the questions, but that's important for you guys to start paying attention to. Get over accusing others simply because you want to hold a cord onto them and still stay attached to the reason because they did this is why your unhealed karma is sitting there. It just doesn't do you any good. So I've been trying to teach this concept that's been lingering for a while to people and clients and some of the classes, which is learning how to die without the physical death is where your power lies. And I know that sounds weird given that we've been talking about health and all these things for so long. But my point around this is we have to let that part die, that part that doesn't serve us, the emotions that hurt, the stuff that we've been holding on to. And if you don't start searching for ways to bring it back up, and I'm preparing you, which is why I started you with the planets, they're going to bring it up whether you like it or not. So now let's just let it die. Okay. And so the power that you have, which is I call your iPod, and you have your positive and challenging aspects of you, you know, the power of your BS death, right? Your bullshit, the stuff that is not good and you know it, but you keep replaying it. And then we want to blame someone else for it. Not okay. So it's not holding on to outdated beliefs. We have to either die and let that stuff happen or be miserable. And that's really where we're all at right now. And the people who are miserable, who are repeating this is why. So the truth is you're afraid to die because it's the death of your idea of yourself and not your actual self. So the idea of who you are, the idea of who you used to be, the idea of who you were before, and let's just use this pandemic thing as the marker of an old you and a new you, right? But it's kind of the line. And so this is really important that we all start paying attention to this as from the angle, am I going to let the old me die that no longer serves me? Because if I were really to stand up and be who I want to be and be who I need to be and be who the biggest, most badass self in me is, I wouldn't be able to do that anymore. I wouldn't be able to act that way anymore. I wouldn't be able to blame anybody anymore because I'd have to own my whole life and step right up and do what I need to do. That's kind of scary for a lot of people, especially given the current times when the external is telling you no. And I'm telling you, the badasses say yes. I don't care if you say no over here. I'm going to move over here until I get a yes. I'm going to move over here until I get a yes. That's the difference. And so letting the old part of you die or the old idea of yourself die so that you can actually come alive is what's happening. And the planets are helping you. So that's a big piece. Carrie is made a comment for us. Truth. Let it go. I've been actually and purposefully working on this the last year. What was a challenge was figuring out what I was truly hung up on. It was not obvious, but I could feel the energy. And that's a perfect example. Okay. Perfect example is you can't always tell what it is, but you know something's bothering you because you're pissed off all the time. Guys, we weren't meant to be pissed off all the time. It's well said, Carrie, because this is really brilliant. If you're pissed off or angry or curmudgeon and crusty all the time, you're pissed off about something. There's no reason to walk around the world and just be pissed off. Yes, you're going to have disappointments. Yes, things are going to frustrate you. Yes, things are going to be painful in life because that's the only thing that gets us as humans to move. But it's true. So good job, Carrie. This was a very, very good example of it's not always obvious, but you feel pissed or irritated about something. You're frustrated. You don't know what it is. And my answer is first go to the physical pain of your body and ask it what it's telling you. Typically, it will tell you. Typically, it will give you some insight as to what frustrates you, what you can't do because of it, what, you know, what you can't, who you can't be with, what you can't be because of it. I have a friend that said, you know, I can't go to the next level of my success because, you know, I have a little extra weight on my body. And I'm like, oh my God, you're like super gorgeous and drop dead beautiful. Like, that's what's holding you back. I won't worry about that. And she couldn't see it, right? And all I see is like, just beautiful. And that's something in her head, why she can't move. So it's always there. Krista had just asked me, what does Uranus represent? Uranus energy is Aquarian energy, and Uranus represents energy that's sudden in and sudden out. It's also the planet that rules freedom. So we are in this energy that wants freedom. So that's why I'm trying to teach you guys this energy of truth. Aquarius rules truth and freedom. It wants the truth and the freedom to go live its truth. And when it gets restricted in living its truth, it's going to ask all the planets to gang up on all of us on the planet. It's asking the whole planet to get ganged up on. And it's saying, by the way, I'm going to gang up on all of you and make you all start stepping into what is true, what is honest, what is not dishonest is going to start surfacing. And I'm preparing all of you. Some of the things that you used to think were true and believe, your beliefs are going to get shattered. And you're not going to like it, because beliefs suck when we're like, but I've always known that. I always believed that. That was it. You know, a lot of people are asking about this, like left and right. You know, we're moving into neutrality. It's why I'm bringing it up. You know, the us and the them. There's no us and them anymore. It just, y'all need to wrap your brain around that. Aquarius is one. Aquarius is all is one. So it doesn't do well with us and them. So just get ready for us and them to crumble. But that is something that's very hard for people, because why? That's what you've known your whole life. It's like someone said, hey, this is a cult. This is what you live in. This is how it's done. This is how you were raised. And you're like, but that's just the way it is. And it's unhealthy. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. Just that's all you know until it crumbles and you find a new way. That's what's happening. Okay. So that is where this Aquarius Uranian energy, all this truth surfacing is going to get you all to wake up. When you wake up, that's a different ballgame. Okay. And the reason I say that is because when you wake up, now you're being called to what you just let die. Now you have to step into what your truth is. And that's almost scarier than just going with the status quo. So the next question is, so when you're triggered, step back and think, wait a minute, why did that hit me? My hot spot. What is that hot spot attached to? Absolutely. It's exactly what you need to do. When something triggers you and gets you upset or angry, anger is a good one, because when we push anger down, it's constriction, which is constricting cells, which is constricted energy, and it gets locked up and it hurts. It's like putting rocks inside of you. So when you get triggered, it triggers one of those areas, and we have to ask ourselves, what is this hot spot attached to? It can go way back to mom doing something from a sibling to doing something from a friend. And it just, oh, that felt terrible. That was when I was abandoned. That's when I was rejected. It doesn't matter what happened, but yes, it will remind you when it happened. My answer is, it's not what, it's if you're willing to let it go. And that's where neutrality comes in. Okay. So the next question that I had posed on the panel of questions was, or the next topic I had listed was, the new relationship reality requires a new norm. The new norm is neutrality. I cannot stress this enough. If you do not hear me now, you will go in a year from now, you're like, that's right. Dawn reminded me we were going to have to move to neutrality. And then when we get to neutrality, it's more peaceful and it's more gentle there, and it's not so extreme and fearful and overwhelming. But that's not an easy place, because most people, they're over here on this side of the camp somewhere. They want you to come all the way over from there to here, and it doesn't work. It's uncomfortable. So getting to neutrality, people are okay with meeting you in the middle. And so it's important that we start doing it from that angle. Okay. So new relationship reality requires the new norm of neutrality. All right. So let's talk about suffering, because that's what's coming up. Again, it's going to push your buttons. And when it does, it's all cool. So let's talk about that. So what are the reasons why we suffer in relationships? Okay. Number one, get ready. Y'all ready? This is why we suffer. You don't know who you are. Number one, you don't know who you are, right? And so it's not body, mind, it's more spiritual truth. It's your divine nature. It's not like, am I a runner and what do I think? It's, why did I come here? What is your purpose? Get on that today, right? So stop blaming your peeps for not being happy or embarrassing you or insecure or it's like ongoing. It's everybody else's fault, right? So it's up to you to learn who you are. You can sit in neutral if you know who you are, because you'll have no interest in trying to be them. So it supports being neutral to the external world because you won't have to move. Because you're like, I'm good. I know who I am. I know why I'm here. I know what I'm doing. All right. So number two, you don't respect who they are. Remember, we're talking about relationships. And if you don't stay neutral, this is going to get you. So this is due to not knowing who you are, and then you go and trying to change them to fill your void because you don't know who that hole is, right? They can't. So you have to go to neutral and fill your own tank and respect where they're at. Guys, your spouse or your relationship or the people in your life right now might be crashing and burning. They really might. And if they are, it's okay. It's not for you to fix them, all right? So remember that. You don't know who you are. You don't respect who they are. Number three, you don't have a shared mission. This is an important one. I harp this on all relationships that I work with. And if you don't have a shared vision or a train track, shall I say, heading in the same city, expect to be disappointed. Neither of you will move at the same speed. So that's one thing you can start understanding is you're not going to expect the same speed and you're not going to carry the same amount of weight. But if you will get to the same, you're going to get to the same place, shall I say, and then you're going to be happy that you succeeded as a team. And marriages and partnerships and relationships that I see miserable, they're literally going like this. Oh, wait, you don't want to be with me? Oh, wait, we're back again. No. And they're doing this and they're crisscrossing and nobody knows where they're going because they don't have an end destination in mind. It's huge. So again, neutral is when they get upset with you, but you're going in the same direction. You're like, yeah, this is the let it go part, right? Well, then I can let it go because it's all going to neutralize itself. They're going that way. They're just not going the route I would have taken, but they're still going the same way I'm going. Tony and I struggle with that sometimes. And I'm like, but you know, I have to back up sometimes. I go, well, we are still going the same direction. And that's important. Okay. And then number four, being afraid that they will hurt you or not fulfill your void or your little iPod BS, shall I call it. But we're afraid someone's going to hurt us. Well, of course they're going to hurt you if you don't know who you are. If you know who you are, no one can hurt you. And then last, number five, fearing the wrong death. Remember, letting the old you go. There's a part of us that have to learn. We have to learn how to let parts of us die so we can become alive. Not the body, but the ego. Okay? So, all right. Let me clear this all up real quick. Tonight's tips, so that we can get on the last 10 minutes with this call. I'm going to invite a guest on and she's going to do a little mini coaching because she had asked some questions. Because all of you, I put out there, ask me questions, and then very few questions come in on the call. And then afterwards, I have this slew of questions. So I'm going to do a Q&A at the end for about 10, 15 minutes with Whitney, and then we will close up. So our tips tonight, waves of truth. The theme for the next 3 to 6 months, is it true for you or not? That's simple. That's how you know to play. Emotional stuffing is surfacing. Let it surface, acknowledge it as yours, and then let it go. Acknowledge what part of it is hurting and let it go. You don't need to know why it's there. You just know it is. And then our new relationship reality requires a new norm of neutrality. Who are you? Who are they? Make a mission and stop hiding your garbage. That simple. All right. It sounds hard, but it's not. I'm going to be very firm about this because it's going to come up for you. And then people start coming to me going, what's wrong, Dawn? And I have to remind you, are you hiding your garbage? All right. So I'm going to leave you guys with one simple question. What garbage have you stuffed that you have accused others of and you need to release and move on yourself or within yourself, shall I say? So can you move you to your greater divine given purpose that you're avoid doing? So here it is. What do I need to acknowledge that I'm accusing others of because I don't want to go over here and be a big badass self? That's simple. And it's hard because we like to blame other people so that we have an excuse not to be a big badass self, right? Neutrality means there's no judgment, means there's no right or wrong. It means you know who you are, and you can't get to neutral if you don't know who you are, Krista. Okay. So I'm going to add something onto the end of these calls, and I'm calling it Live with DT. A lot of people who are trying to log into these calls have questions or would like to do some coaching with me, and I'm trying to figure a way to help people more. So what I'm doing on this live call, you'll be able to see, I'm going to invite one of the panelists on, one of the attendees, and I'm going to invite her on. And we're going to go and start doing Live with DT at the end. And you guys are going to get a little extra coaching in all of this. And so I just want you guys to meet Whitney. Hello, Whitney. This is our last little 10 minutes, guys. And I want you to meet Whitney because we had some questions from Whitney. And I'm going to do these Live with DTs more often, but we're just going to start them on the end of the Truth Tribe calls because I have you all here. All right. So, hi, Whitney.
Hi. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay.
Everyone can hear you. So
I'm good. Hi.
How are you? What's happening? Do you have any
good? So that
burning questions that we can answer?
Yeah. So I actually it totally went a whole nother direction after listening to you talk. Like it was an epiphany. I was like, oh my God, how did I not know that?
What was your epiphany?
So yeah, it was a pattern, like a cycle that I have realized with the Scorpio full moon, like this time of year, this month, this exact season, that I have my Mars in Scorpio in the second house. So I love Scorpio energy, but it all surrounds this time of year is when I get super gung-ho and energetic about like my business and my mission and taking action on it. Mm-hmm. And then towards like the summer and the end of the year, it like goes away and it like doesn't fully happen. And then this same time of year again, it's back into this like hyper action, like I have to do it. Okay. But then it's like in the second house, I get this like, there's like a self-worth and like a doubt thing that kind of is coming up. But I never realized the pattern until I was listening to you talk.
And then you said, oh, I have a pattern, right?
Yeah. So and I don't know.
From way back, right? It's not like this is a new thing.
No, it's like whatever I want to start in my life, it happens during like Aries season. And then it's like, then the doubt starts to creep in and the insecurities and all of those things like around this time. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how I never correlated.
Yeah. That's a perfect example of watching a pattern when people are asking, how do you let go or how do you get to neutrality? By looking just at a pattern that you don't like, and you just answered it. You're like, I don't like that pattern. Like I start feeling really great about it. I think I'm amazing and I'm so cool and powerful. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm not cool and I'm not powerful, right? And so you power struggle within yourself. So now you go, okay, why am I stuffing and why am I angry at myself for having a power struggle with myself?
Yeah, I think a lot is like inaction or like I get really overwhelmed. And then like, no, like I want to take action, but there's just no action or appropriate action. I don't have to.
So what you're asking, Whitney, is what everybody is experiencing. So I want to make sure everybody hears this. Okay. Whitney, you're having a cycle. And my answer is, guys, I explained this about Aquarius, right? Everybody has a cycle. It's just, where is it affecting you in your life? And so when you pay attention to the patterns, some patterns are really good. What if you're making money all the time and you're successful and you have these waves of making a ton of money and you invest it and you take time off and you make money and you invest it and take time off? That's not a bad thing, right? Of a good cycle. It's just cycle you don't like. So my point is that we watch all of these cycles, right? We have to watch out with some of them. They're not bad. The cycles you don't like, that's the one I want you to start acknowledging and going, okay, if I know this is coming and I feel driven, what am I going to do about it? right? Like this is a cycle that I have to not stop, which means I'm going to put on the calendar what I'm all excited about right now, and I'm going to spread it out 6 months instead of 6 weeks. Right. And so now it's a cycle that you have to break on your own. And you say, no. Because one of the things I'm not a big fan in astrology is like, this is your stars, these are your planets. Right. And I don't believe that. I think anyone can change your stars. You just have to change the parts you don't like. And if we don't know we don't like a certain part of our personality, you don't even have to know your chart. There's parts of myself I know I don't like.
Yeah. I always say it's there's higher and lower expressions, and we have the free will how to play out the energy.
Right. So do you not take free will to play out your drive, or you just say, yeah, I'm going to take no free will. I'm going to ignore it.
Yeah. No, this is like the emotional stuffing for me that's coming up, is like, it turns into this like fear that is almost like debilitating, in a sense of like, it's so weird.
So it debilitates you when you actually start to put yourself out there. It scares you that the idea and the thought you have isn't good enough.
Right. Or it's, it's like, whatever's coming up, it's like all mental, going through, following through with the action part. So it gets really overwhelming. And then I majorly procrastinate or distract, like all these self-sabotage things. Like I will distract myself to no end. And then at the end of the day, I get really mad at myself because I'm like, you just wasted 24 hours. Like, what did you even do today? And I had like a whole list to like be productive in business and like other parts of my life that I want to take action on. And then I'm like, what just happened?
Question for you. Here's the big question, because this isn't uncommon. Like this is pretty natural for most people. What I realize though is that you're trying to eat the whole elephant at once and go, well, I didn't, so now I'm not going to do it at all. You're like, I have this great list, but that great list is only for a week, right? It's not for like this is every single day. And you can't eat the whole elephant at once, but you can take a small bite. And then the small bite in 6 months turns into what we were talking about. So I think this is the solution for you, is trying to do small amounts and not even try to get to where you're going of the elephant, but just know there's again, the vision, right? Whether it's a relationship or a relationship with your job or your relationship with yourself, we have to take small bites and then not try to overwhelm ourselves. Go, I didn't do it, so now I'm not doing it at all.
This is so funny because I have a similar analogy, but when it's you, like you can't see it in yourself. You know what I mean? No. So it's like, I describe the same thing to people about like, cause I love to go hiking. So it's like climbing a mountain. You can only get to the top one step at a time. Exactly. And it's like, you can't look at the top and be overwhelmed and give up because it's one step at a time. And
and it's harder too when it's emotional based. And that's what I'm saying. So when yours is emotional based, so then if you go backwards and you ask yourself, okay, from my mom or my dad, who's the person who doesn't like to complete tasks?
Yep.
Who is it?
Procrastination.
Who's that?
I'm not going to say it out loud.
Which parent is that?
My dad.
She whispers it like, that's my dad. He's an amazing person. I love your father beyond measure. So amazing, but he struggles with that. So and the reason I'm asking you that, because someone on the panel here is asking the question.
Go ahead.
Her question is, how do you figure out your cycle? And my answer is that's what she did. She just saw the cycle of something she does. So pick something you don't like, and then ask yourself, what parent did the same thing? And then you go, I don't not love the parent. I don't love the action. Now that's what I'm going to get rid of. That anger for that frustration of that, whatever topic, doesn't matter. For you, it's procrastination or incompletion.
Yeah.
I would rather you do small things repeatedly and get little wins than try to think you're supposed to have the entire, Tony Robbins organization set up in a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, and also like what, this is something I should have been familiar with to help answer that person's question too, is like, it's something I do like introspection all the time, but just listening to you specifically talk about it's following current energy, like you said, because specifically right now, Scorpio full moon, you made me go look at where Scorpio was in my chart. And then it dawned on me, oh my gosh, Mars is in Scorpio. Like that's action. I'm having these issues. And then it's in the second house. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So like understanding that really, really helped me see this pattern, like just like right at the beginning of your call, which I wasn't even expecting.
So good. And that's one thing I want everybody on this call. You don't need to, how do I say, guys, those of you who are on the call, I don't want you to get confused. Whitney's also an astrologer here. So she's
sorry.
No, it's good. She's talking a lot of astrology, but I want you to understand, even as an astrologer, she did what I try. She didn't realize to think about why I try to keep you guys, because sometimes they'll be like, you're just giving us general signs and planets. That's all you need to know, right? And when you're like, oh, I didn't even think about the cast of just the moon.
Yeah.
So we get so caught up in the detail that we forget, it is that basic to go, what old, past emotional stuff that we've been stuffing.
Yeah.
I say lit up by the moon or enlightened in that area, and you just got enlightened in that area. And so that's all, that's what I want you guys to do. So you answered this so well. And I think, I'm hoping that did you get some solution on there, which is small bites and small longer, right?
Yeah.
You give yourself an option not to do a small 10-minute thing every day.
Exactly.
Time to do it because your little sign isn't helping you when it comes to that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, well, you, Whitney, with all of that Taurus and being a stubborn bull, Capricorn, like you're constantly on the go. So then you're like, well, what? How could I not fit 9 million things into my life at once, right? That's hard.
Yeah.
So don't try to blame the planets. Use them to your advantage to say, okay, if this is an opportunity to look at my challenges right now, I'm in.
Yeah. I also like to fix things and have all the answers. And so it's like a major lesson of complete surrender. And it honestly brings up anxiety, but it's not like, it's like a good anxiety to where it's like, I'm aware of it. And I just have to like let things go. like you were talking about. Yeah. And another pattern appeared to me about like, old things, like you had mentioned, someone else talked about like, oh, I totally healed that. Like I've evolved, like I got this. I'm like, I got like slapped in the face, and then it's like, here again. And like about like love and intimacy and things like that. And I'm like, I refuse to repeat this cycle. Like, what do I have to do to end this? Because this is BS. Like, I thought I've already, like, I'm not attracting this anymore. So it's just interesting when you feel all the emotions come up and put blame on things, like you were saying. I felt myself like, whatever's not working in business, I blame anything outside of that. Whatever's not working here, I'm blaming on this. And it's like, so it's interesting to see.
It is. When those things are showing up, and it's cool. Another person on the call is asking this question. For me, it almost feels like self-sabotage to get to the point of starting to do something about it. And that's kind of what you're saying. You sabotage yourself to the point, and you're like, oh, fine, I see it, right? And I want you to understand, this is not uncommon, guys. Not uncommon. This is everybody. So just that's why I wanted to start having panelists and guests on just at the end, that you guys realize it's not just you. It's me, it's Whitney, and we're all doing the same craziness. And it's not a negative. The cool part is that you saw I'm glad you saw the one part was it's further. That's what you caught, because that's what I was trying to get people to say. It was way further back than you thought, because I've done that so many times where I'm like, oh, I totally mastered that. Like I'm totally good with that. And then it shows up and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No. And what you guys will understand is, and someone, had said, it's really annoying, but it's so me, like we get to this point and we want to fix everybody and fix things. And my answer is when those things that we're trying to fix outside of us aren't getting fixed, you know the answer.
Yeah.
You gotta, yeah. And fixing you is always the faster solution and the faster, opportunity. And you heal faster when you turn it back around and say, oh, wow. This comes up quite a bit with parents, right? Parents look at their kids and judge them or tell them, oh, I can't believe my kid's doing this.
Yeah.
And my answer is, well, they're avoiding and being irresponsible just like you, right?
Yeah.
Well, because, my kids can get very controlling and overwhelmed, or they can overwhelm themselves by being a workaholic. And I'm like, that's not, and I'm telling them not to do it, but I taught them that, right? So I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you have to look, and when we see it, you can
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge it. And I'm so proud of you because it's time for you to game on.
I just got chills.
It is
Baby
time for you.
steps.
It's time for you to game on. And it doesn't
Yeah.
mean you have to do it in like I said, in one day. It's just a matter of trying to give ourselves those small amounts of time and saying, when I feel overwhelmed or emotionally stuffed, I did this to myself.
Yeah.
And,
I feel it too, because the eclipses were in Capricorn too.
mhm.
And I'm like, I literally feel like there's like, this is it now or never. Like I feel that energy, and I feel like that's why it's more intense, partly why it might be more intense, because like I have all of this like supportive energy and it's so obvious, but it's like super intense.
Okay. So let me give you guys one last closing message on all of this, okay? Because what you just said, one of the panelists is typing the same thing out at the same time in her words, right? And it's the same thing. You guys are saying, I'm focused on so much and it's so intense, and I know it's time. The planets told me so. Okay. So let's just say you don't know the planets, Krista.
Okay.
People, all of you out there, I know who you are, but let's just say you don't know the planets, okay? And we don't know what's happening out there. My answer is I want you all to act as if there are no planets, and you just took it energetically like I taught you, and you can go into feeling. If it doesn't feel good, it's angry, overwhelming, intense energy. And it's time to release it, right? We don't need to know what planet is kicking our ass. We just know one is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, cool when we can go look for it. We have another one on here that just said, yes, it's baby steps, the compound effect, one step at a time, no judging ourselves. That's a huge piece that I want everybody on this call to remember, okay? If you can acknowledge that, yes, the planets are energy and they're going to impact and affect us, and we're going to have great times, we're going to have rough times, we're going to have tough times. But if we cannot even give them so much power, and we can just know when they're pushing us to shift, what's the push that we're supposed to shift into? What are we trying to do?
I've actually noticed that, because it'll be scary, but one thing will lead me to take action. And if I do take action, it's like 10 different synchronicities happen like consecutively after that, just supporting the energy of like action. And I'm like, okay, don't kill the buzz. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So,
and so you have to understand that the universe is going to try and push your buttons a little bit and see if it can kill the buzz, right? It's going to try and say, it is. It's going to say, oh, so how bad do you want it? Are you used to the old pattern? Remember that old you that you didn't let die? Are you really going to let her die and go be a badass? And yes, it's your time. And yes, it's ready to step up. But sometimes it'll be a day, it'll be a week, or it'll just be, one moment in time, you wake up and you're like, what just happened? And a different you happens. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
No more judging the planets, no more judging people, no more being mad at yourself. It's just going one step at a time, and more so trusting how you feel.
Yeah.
And when you're feeling good, enjoy it. When you don't feel good, back out of it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Everybody can see you. You're beautiful and you're smart. We love her. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
All right. I will find you soon. You have a good night. Bye.
Thanks.
All right, guys, that was Whitney. Oh my gosh, that was such a good call. thank you guys for enjoying that. I know you guys were all kind of popping in there, and I know that brought up, but I know it's more helpful for you guys to see that coming out on another person, that you're not the only person experiencing it. Whitney does, I do, we all do, right? And so yes, thank you. We can talk planets, we can talk tools, we can talk tips, but at the end of the day, let's close this call out on is what you feel is what you heal. If it doesn't feel good, that's what we heal. If it feels great, enjoy it. But thank you, Jill. There's another tip on here is it's baby steps, right? It's a baby step compounding effect. And yes, if you just one at a time, you put one foot instead in front of the other and you eat as I call, eat the elephant. Whitney wants to climb the mountain. She's a hiker. That's what it takes. And it takes that same concept to heal our heart, to heal our thoughts, to heal our emotion. Tanya was right on the point of we all sabotage ourselves almost to the point where we have no choice but to start to do something about it. That's the healing. That's the process. We get ourselves to the point of getting on the edge of the cliff and then you have no choice. It's just a normal cycle. But I wanted you guys to understand when it comes up, we're not going to beat ourselves up. We're just going to purge it and let it go. All right. So you guys have been awesome. I went 5 over. I don't like taking you guys out too late on a Monday night. It is your school night, but I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you all who joined me on YouTube. We will repost this again in the Universal Truth Tribe wall. So those of you who want to watch it, it will be there for replay. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are amazing. Don't forget that you guys can all sign up for next week and or share it with anyone. We will be having multiple, probably 2 to 3 weeks, the Lighten Up events will happen. The toolbox, remember the toolbox, you can go on the website and get the toolbox, which has the marriage mission that we were talking about earlier. And then if you want to be in the Q&A next week, all you have to do is go on my website, go into events and go live with DT, and you will be signed in and I will put you live and we'll have a chit chat. So it's a lot easier for me to get questions out of you guys faster when it's live. I loved having you. Have a great night. Brightest blessings. I'm sending hearts and blankets of love on top of all of you. I will talk to you soon. Take care.